Serious, people of Reddit who have killed or hurt someone badly, what is your story? Do you regret it? I don't want to give too many details because it's so specific. But in a soccer game in high school, I somehow collided both my knees with the back of the head other team's goalie. Long story short, she ended up needing to be life-flighted off the field and the game ended at halftime because of the helicopter flying in. I was a sobbing wreck because I was in so much pain from hyperextending my knees and also because of how bad I felt for that girl. I think about her from time to time and hope she is doing okay. Beat the shit out of my step uncle for hitting my grandmother. He'd molested me when we were growing up. He had it coming. My dad wanted to come back from abroad and kill him. And I figured he actually would and would end up in prison. So me and my proper uncle just went round his flat and kicked the shit out of him. I know that sounds really calculating. But at this point I was used to being the sensible one in my family. I had a lot of shit dumped on me by the adults. Close bracket. I don't regret it at all. I don't know if it will stop him from doing anything like that in future. I'm no longer in contact with any of them, but it needed to be done then. And I feel like I'm more at peace with my childhood because of it. I got into my first fight ever at the age of 14 or so. The kid came at me swinging and all I could think was shit. I really don't want to get hit. Somehow I got him in a headlock and then I didn't know what to do because I also didn't want to hit him. We wrestled around a bit. He tried a weird move to get his head out from under my arm. Fell. And hit his head on the corner of a brick flower bed. He had to go to the hospital. And was out of school for a few days. But eventually showed up again. We didn't really know each other before. And I didn't have much inclination to talk to him after. So I don't know how bad it really was. I regret the hell out of it. Wish I'd been smart enough to avoid the situation in the first place. I don't even remember what the fight was about. I was mugged by 4 guys on a bike path once. Nowhere near anyone. The first guy to get to me was big and trying to grab me. I knew if he grabbed me I was FK'd. So I had to use some fast vicious shit on him. Full force to throat. Eyes. Kicked the knee sideways. The others were shocked and I was able to kick knees or nuts and run until I couldn't breathe anymore. That throat strike though. Something crunched. I won't forget that feeling of something under my knuckles giving resistance. Then. Not. I don't know what happened to him. I didn't want to know. But I've had nightmares of him choking and gurgling out and no help to be had. I wish it hadn't happened. I don't like hurting anyone. But the more me. Yeah, no? When I was much younger I found myself tied up with a few members of a local gang. Me and my friend would buy weed from them on occasion and eventually they tried to set us up on a county lines drug trafficking scheme. We eventually got posted up north of the UK in a shirty little apartment and would sell weed and coke out of it. After about a week and a half this one drugged up loon tried to force himself through the door after he realized how much product we had. I'm guessing he had been following us for a while. He eventually got through and charged at us but we fought back and ended up stabbing him a few times in self-defense during the scramble. Never knew if he made it. We left immediately. Although I can't regret it since it was self-defense. I'm sympathetic to people like him. Who are so consumed by drugs they're willing to physically harm children just for a hit. I've broken several people's bones and busted a couple ligaments. I broke one guy's neck and I'm still not sure how. Never in anger. Just wrestling. The sounds still haunt me and I haven't wrestled for nearly 15 years. Many of these people were friends. Busted my own brother's knee, something serious. I don't think I was an exceptionally violent or careless wrestler. And certainly wasn't mean. I would actually stop immediately if I even thought someone was injured. I was strong for my size and hit moves hard. Because, well, you have to if you want them to work. People kept breaking. That's why I don't roughhouse with people at all anymore. Even though I love it. I have fun. And they break. Then I feel terrible for years. When I was a teenager, I got into a bad car accident one night when a guy I knew was trying to merge onto a road and didn't shoulder check. He was hit in his blind spot and the other person in the front passenger seat who wasn't wearing a seatbelt went through the windshield and ended up on the hood of the car, unconscious. It was a sight and an experience that haunted me for years. I actually became scared of learning how to drive because of it. The guy who was driving had his insurance go up, but I am not sure if he felt bad about what happened. The other kid who ended up on the hood of the car had a bunch of busted bones. Needed staples and stitches on his head. Lost a bunch of teeth. Broke a bunch of more bones in his face, and I'm pretty sure he developed CTE from it because his friend said he was never the same afterwards. This was nearly 20 years ago. I haven't seen either person in more than a decade. Not really, the guy was a pedo. Tried to touch kids through a school fence. When I was in kindergarten, I remember myself being the obnoxious girl in the class. One horrible day, the recess, I called special kid from my class to a muddy puddle. I said that there was a treasure inside and he must find it. When the kid approached to the puddle, I kicked him to slide in. When the boy wanted to go out, I just kept kicking him, lorting at him. A teacher saw us and took the boy out the puddle and put me to clean the boy's shoes. It's a memory that has always haunted me and obviously I deeply regret. I was only 4-5 years old and my father had just passed away. I'm not justifying myself, but that's the only answer I have for my behavior back then. E.S. Sorry for my grammar. English is not my first language. I used to a fighter and during training I threw a body kick, roundhouse, and snapped my friend's radius. I felt really bad, but he got a month paid off work and went to Japan for a week, so he didn't mind too much. My two friends and I were also jumped once and the guys got a nasty surprise when they realized we were fighters. I served in the military. Shot a guy before he shot me. I was able to render him aid when I realized he was a teenager. I'll never forget the look on his face or the smell of gunpowder and blood mixed in the air. The F-king look on his face when he took that last breath still keeps me up at night, and I've been out for over a decade. I've killed someone. I'm an ER doctor and had a patient come in nearly dead of chronic airways disease, short and needing to be put on a ventilator. Only problem was that he had what looked like a pneumothorax, collapsed lung. The treatment for this was drainage with a surgical tube through the chest wall. As it went in, I felt something go wrong. It had penetrated through his lung. He didn't survive. My colleagues told me it's a recognized complication, 1/500, and he'd have died anyway. But back in college I went through a particularly nasty breakup, and a few weekends later, at a party, some drunk arsehole started talking shitty to me about her in a way that no man should ever have to listen to. After a while, and multiple people trying to make him shut up, I finally snapped and beat the hell out of the guy. Just completely leveled him. I blacked out for most of it, but I do remember that I had no intention of stopping, even after he was on the ground, until several guys grabbed me and pulled me away. The sole reason that I was let off with basically a warning was because there was a small army of witnesses insisting that he provoked me and that I endured for as long as anybody can reasonably be expected to. I mainly feel bad about it because I'll let myself get carried away and really hurt him bad. He didn't look quite right for a while afterwards. I could have just ended it after one punch, but I'll let my pain manifest into rage, and that poor arsehole paid for it more than he should have. I was middle school and broke a kid's arm in rage. Now I'm a major pacifist. I'm not sure exactly how many replies you're going to get of people actually admitting that they killed somebody. But as far as hurting people, I was a victim of a lot of bullying growing up for one reason or another. Part of it was because I have a very youthful face and I come off as very non-threatening. Sharks smell blood in water. People pick up on that and they run with it and take advantage of it. So it led to me acting out a lot. Acute, I took out my anger, frustration, and resentment on a lot of people who really didn't deserve it. In doing so, I definitely feel that I alienated and destroyed a lot of potential friendships. I can't really say that there is one particular incident or instance that really sticks out in my mind however. But I will say that I very much regret it. If I could go back and have a redo I would do it at the drop of a hat. I was in this after school activity with some classmates. One of them made fun of me in public. Which I'm very sensitive to. Since I like to keep things I want to keep to myself. So others can't make mean jokes call me out on it. He and 3 others were laughing. When I held the first guy in a choke grip for a solid 4-5 seconds. Then one of the adults came in. Leading to me having to write an apology letter to the teacher. It didn't have any big influences on both of us. But it's the first time I seriously flipped. Probably due to me avoiding social contact. Thus not knowing how to keep my rage in. I even did a 3-week course on how to look someone in the eyes. In 6th grade. I definitely do regret it. Now knowing I have to fix things with words. Not fists. I still see the kid every once in a while. He also seems to know not to do stuff like that anymore. Luckily. We can normally interact now. 2 guys were holding me and other guy was punching me. I ended up bashing that guy to the point where they had to get him ambulance. We were like 13 YO or something and yes. I do regret doing that because it was so inhuman from my side since I rushed at that guy like some kind of wild beast. You're going to get a lot of fanfiction in this thread. I'm okay with that if they get out their frustrations I really don't mind but I'm going to treat every comment as if it was the truth. When I was 19 and my sister was 15, she had a well-grown body. I just got to know my teacher arped her. I came to him house. We all knew where he lives in class. He was completely drunk. I left it for the other day so he could actually remember it. Next day I came to him and just did a really heavy hook onto his face. I still remember his goddamn shocked face. After that we talked about it in his house. He knew what he did and went on me with fists because he thought I would call police on him. I just held by with him that he tripped and hit his head. Was in hospital for 10 days before dying. I tell myself I'd hate to condone this. But good on you. Rapists and child molesters deserve just as much compassion as they gave their victims. None. Self-defense. No. Would do it again if needed. I hurt my little brother badly once because of an outburst. I don't wanna say any more about it other than yes I regret it. Every day I didn't kill but I've injured to the point when I walked away I thought to myself this guy might die. He didn't, instead he survived. He was able to finger me and I went away. I'm out now and really do regret it but it was a long time ago so it's done with and I have to move on. Sometimes when I'm really like fall down drunk I wonder what if I had finished it would I have been caught? What would life have been like? Now when you say he was able to finger you. Killed a large group of individuals in Afghanistan. Sucks because even though I knew almost all of them were very bad people. I knew some of them weren't. Just in the wrong place wrong time. I honestly don't know if I severely hurt the guy but I was sexually assaulted by a boy in school. After I punched him a few times, I know how to box so I tried to make it hurt by giving him a right hook which is my second favorite punch. All he said was ow. I was scared because he didn't seem fazed. Thankfully he didn't touch me anymore and he realized he was in the wrong. I had to tell the police what happened. I told them and they said to never assault someone ever. Even if you're defending yourself because you'll go to jail. I hated police even since. But I think I will still punch a person who is trying to hurt me in any way. This was around 3 years ago in 7th grade. I was in my cooking class. We were making a chicken chow mein and there was this really annoying kid that just went around annoying other students but he mainly annoyed me and around midway through he somehow got his hands on a dustpan and broom. Probably convinced the teachers he was going to clean since he couldn't make the food. and came over to me and started to pretend to sweep the floor, trying to disguise the fact he was hitting me in the legs with the broom. By the third time I was getting pissed and told his to FCK off, and this only made him do it more, and by the time he hit me in the leg for the 7th time I've had it, and I just turn around and I am checking him square in the face, breaking his nose. After that incident he didn't want nothing to do with me no more. Moral of the story: don't FCK with someone that is twice as big as you. Just for the people who would like to know, I am autistic and have anger problems. It's not a thing you forget, and it's not a thing you can forgive yourself for. Ever. No matter the circumstances. Yes to the first question. No to the second. I'm not going to share the experience. Never killed anyone. But beat the hell out of several rednecks in a 6-on-1 fight. I got hurt. But 2 kids lost teeth. Had their mouths wired shut and a cracked open skull. I was not charged due to self-defense. This has distinct Letterkenny vibes.